The Philadelphia Eagles advanced to 4-0 after a big win on the road against the Bucs, but boy, did they raise our blood pressure in doing so. Today, we will talk about the good and the bad, the tale of two halves, and ultimately a serious issue ongoing with this team that must be fixed right now. We'll break it all down here on A to Z Philly, but welcome into the show. I'm RB, and woo! Oh my gosh, man, take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale, like the Eagles page here says on Twitter. Literally, exhale. That's the caption of their photo because the Eagles win 31-25, but my gosh, it took every bit to get this done. I predicted this game 31-16. It ends up 31-25, and I thought for a second they were about to choke a 21-point lead because the first half was unbelievable. The Eagles come out, and they are humming on offense. They keep up the flow they had in the second half last week that brought them all the way back against the Rams, a huge staple comeback in franchise history. And we're like, okay, Kevin Patullo finally figured it out. He's finally got the train on the tracks. Things are rolling, right? They're stretching the field in the first half, and everything's going according to plan. Matter of fact, Nick Sirianni's chirping at Baker Mayfield because the Eagles are putting it to the Buccaneers. Keep in mind, Eagles have had trouble playing this team. They're on the road in Tampa again, where it feels like they're at every year. It's like 1,000 degrees, and the Eagles' offense is humming. Jalen Hurts looked absolutely incredible, and Nick Sirianni's talking his smack, and everybody is. But just like last week, in reverse fashion, it comes down to a tale of two halves, and I'm going to tell you why that happened. But first half, I tweeted this out. It took a little bit of bullying, but Kevin Patullo has woken up. Kevin Patullo called an unbelievable game in the first half. Everything was right. Everything was working. And in the second half, I tweet this out just like a lot of other people. Hey, Kevin Patullo, where'd you go? Where are you? You come out in this game, you block a punt on the first special teams play. Keep in mind, back-to-back special teams plays return for touchdowns. The block field goal and the block punt. And then you force a punt. You go down, score a touchdown. It's 14-zip. You give up a field goal, couple punts, another touchdown, and at halftime, you're up 24-6. After a wild field goal by Chase McLaughlin, 65 yards, second longest in history. So you're up 24-6 at halftime. This is demoralizing for the Bucs. You get the ball back. And what happens in the third quarter? Kevin Patullo turns into Kevin Patullo. But you know what? Before I talk about him, let me just give a shout out to Jalen Hurts. I thought the second half was rough. I thought the Buccaneers, at least from first glance, brought a lot of different blitzes in the second half. They switched things up, which we expected them to. They were in all desperation mode. They had to do something, right? Because Jalen was picking them apart. Every throw was on the money. His runs were very decisive. He knew exactly what to do, when to do it. Bucs could not get to him. He was absolutely slicing through that defense. This first half from Jalen Hurts, I think he was like 15-16, 200-something yards and 2 touchdowns. He was exquisite. And Jalen Hurts has now led the Eagles to an 18-0 record in the last 18 games he has started and finished. All he does is win. And in the second half, Kevin Patullo absolutely goes back to what we saw in the first couple weeks of the season. Retweet if this is Kevin Patullo one half of every game. People still see those shades of Brian Johnson, and I just don't understand it. Yes, it is a serious issue, ladies and gentlemen, and I know I'm crazy for screaming. I know I might sound like a lunatic for screaming about this team that's 4-0, right? Because at the end of the day, you got the win. It was on the road against a tough opponent. That's all that matters, right? Everybody, even the broadcast, oh my gosh, every 2 seconds. Well, did you know the Buccaneers won all 3 games by 1 score in the last minute? Here they come again. Nobody cares. They beat teams that sucked. But anyway, speaking of suck, the refs, oh my gosh, the referees were absolutely brutal. I don't care what the final yards tallies were for penalties. The referees were so one-sided in this game. I'm talking about a 15-yarder for tackling a guy and looking over him from Cooper DeJean. They had another rough in the passer where Baker barely gets swiped, another 15. The refs were absolutely doo-doo in this game. But ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Patullo is to blame for the second half, and he is to blame only. I'm not looking at anybody else. People are going to talk about the defense. Sure, they gave up a little bit in the second half. I expected it to swing. Why? Because it's 100 degrees, and they were pretty rested in the first half, so when they got hit, it was like a shock effect, and they started to feel the pressure a little bit. They started to feel the heat. both literally and figuratively. But Kevin Patullo started to run the ball up the gut every play. Saquon Barkley could not get anything going in this game. His final tally in this game, 19 carries for 43 yards. Now, he did have 31 in the air. They went away from that in the second half. But Saquon was getting stuff. Quite simple. Do we start talking about it as an issue? I don't know. Because when the Eagles were multiple and they were versatile and they were throwing the ball, everything was fine, right? And you were getting a couple good Saquon runs. But in the second half, they reverted to literally halfback draw, halfback draw, halfback draw, running it into a full box. And then on top of that, you also don't get the ball to A.J. Brown. He had 2 catches in this game, should have had way more. Devontae Smith had 2 catches. I believe they were both in the first half. So you went away from him. And like even in the first half on those couple touchdowns, like the Eagles literally looked like the Kansas City Chiefs of the past. They're doing underhand shovel plays. No tush pushes in this game, by the way. They did have a fake tush push, which we'll look at in a second. But they're doing underhand shovel plays to Dallas Goedert. Kevin Patullo was on some mastermind stuff in the first half. Where did all the creativity go? You cannot tell me that in the second half, they did not come out with the approach of let's play to run the clock out and not to win and continue to dominate. They were playing not to lose, and they were running the same couple of plays, and it looked like they were just trying to waste the clock instead of putting it to the Buccaneers. Then you give the Buccaneers momentum. You saw how they came out fired up in the second half. They were ready to go. You got to give credit to Baker Mayfield. He made a couple big plays. The Eagles' D-line was flushing them out all day. They only finished with 2 sacks, but there was a lot of plays, whether it's Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter or even Jalix Hunt. They're flushing him out of the pocket. Baker made some big plays. All of a sudden, they throw a 77-yard touchdown to Emeka Egbuka, who has been an incredible rookie for them this year. And that should have been tapped, but, Cooper DeJean tried to get it. Makuba was lost in space, and he runs for a 77-yard bomb. Okay, fine. And then the Buccaneers end up fumbling on their next drive. It was recovered by Ringo, but it was poked out by Jihaad Campbell, who was an absolute hero in this game. Play was upheld. Then the Eagles score a touchdown, so you're thinking, okay, they've got it again. And what happens? The Bucs come back, and on a scramble play, Jihaad Campbell's covering Bucky Irving for about 5 years, and Baker throws it right up the sideline, and Irving gets a little bit of space because Campbell made a mistake, and he turned his head, and Bucky Irving is off to the races. And that is a, 72-yard touchdown? Extra points good. Now it's an 11-point game, and from the rest of the game on, the Eagles' offense stalled. They looked like they did the first 2.5 weeks of the season. They didn't have anything left because they went away from what worked. The offensive line was stellar in the first half. Dallas Goedert was great. Devontae Smith, everything was great. Jalen was almost perfect. He had a 140 passer rating at halftime. And they went away from what worked. And I'm sorry, I cannot look at anybody else other than Kevin Patullo. Do I think that there's a lot of good there that we've seen now? Yes. But why go away from it? That is not how you coach to win football games. Now, one thing that I thought was amazing in the second half, one of the lone things on offense, was the fake tush push. We've never seen that happen. Now teams have to account for that. Should we ban that too? They want to ban the tush push. Should we ban the fake tush push? Because now teams have to account for that. That might even make it easier to convert than it already is for the Eagles. So they line up 3rd and 1. They're on the 6-yard line, 5-yard line. And everybody dives up the middle. They just turn and hand it off to Saquon. He waltzes right in for a touchdown. Their last 3 drives of this game, especially in the fourth quarter, go punt, punt, and punt. They go 5 plays for -5 yards, 3 plays for 0 yards, 28 seconds, and then 3 plays for 8 yards. And if it wasn't for the hero, Jihaad Campbell, who picks off Baker Mayfield in the end zone. By the way, don't know what the heck he was thinking. Here's what it looked like. Okay, Jihaad Campbell picks off Baker Mayfield. Baker scrambled, and they were moving the ball well. They converted a couple big 3rd downs. They converted a 4th and 1. They were going to score a touchdown. Now, who knows if they would have got the 2-point conversion, but Baker just made an absolutely inexcusable play here, and he throws it off balance after being chased out, and Jihaad Campbell picks it off. Jihaad Campbell is an absolute monster, okay? He had a forced fumble in this game. He poked it out earlier from Irving. He had an interception that won the game. and he looks like the steal of the NFL draft. Like through 4 weeks, his numbers are unbelievable. He's been one of the best linebackers in the NFL. But nonetheless, the Buccaneers had a chance to make this a ball game again, and it should have never come down to that. I commend the defense for sticking in there. I don't know what the half-by-half numbers are, but today was a complete flip of what has happened in the past, and the Buccaneers finished with 376 yards of offense after looking dead at halftime. And that just cannot happen. 272 yards in the air. It's wild to me. I don't know why Kevin Patullo went away from everything that worked, but the Eagles don't turn the ball over. They end up finding a way to win this. The positive is that you're 4-0 and you just find ways to win. And now you're 20 out of the last 21 when Jalen Hurts plays, 18 in a row when he's started and finished the game. But they have to pick up this consistency because you're seeing special teams make plays. As bad as the defense looked at times, you know that Vic Fangio can make adjustments and win ball games. The offense has to come around here. There's no reason that A.J. Brown should not have more targets in this game. Jamel Dean goes down. Hassan Reddick goes down. The Buccaneers are down so many pieces, and you can't continue to be a tale of two halves type of team. Hopefully next week is the week they put it all together for 4 quarters and they figure it out moving forward. But those are my thoughts on this game. How do you feel about it? Give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will catch you on the next one.